For many years in the Singapore market, decades even, one rule held true. Toyota is always on top.
But in recent years, competitors shook up the market. Toyota lost its top spot in 2025. One thing was clear: the environment, the market, the products were changing. With more and more electric makes on the market, government incentives and policies, the push for electrification went beyond the self-charging hybrids.
And in 2026, this is Lexus' answer to an all-electric sedan. But is Lexus too late?
This is the Lexus ES 350e, now in its 8th generation, a striking new design for a new era.
And I feel like the ES is about due for a new look. Like BMW has the 5 Series, Mercedes-Benz has the E-Class, the ES stands strong alone as a brilliant product for the refined professional.
But as times change, the look had to keep up. When the IS received a facelift in 2020, the ES remained relatively similar until today. And while generations tended to grow, this new ES is a lot more revolution than evolution.
Upon first glance, you might have thought that this was another car from another brand. Apart from the wing daytime running lights, traces of the spindle grille, the ES has received a lot of nip and tuck.
Sharp new eyes with mascara. It's like the pendulum swung to the other side. From being too restrained, the repressed urges are breaking free. What is this design? Essences of spindle grille line the bottom. The flow-through grille is gone. This is an electric after all.
Even the color Soul is a brand new addition to the lineup. This blue is meant to express the cleanliness of a battery electric vehicle, with deep hues and shades hidden inside the coat.
And while up front the badge remains, move over to the rear. Crumple, like the Avante CN7. The slope goes all the way one piece to the boot. In place of the Lexus logo, now we see a full line with Lexus spelled in lights.
Lexus is no stranger to having wood grain in the cabin. It elevates the ambience, it brings soul into the cabin. But when I first saw this, it reminded me of a wooden pallet. At first.
I love seeing evolution, but is it too much? The most glaring design change? A side strike that stretches from the charge port to the rear wheel. What were they thinking?
Well, times change. And after all, the market today is nothing like the market that was a few years ago. So is it really that strange for Lexus to want to reinvent themselves? Now, if you look at the Continentals, change seems to be the only constant. In fact, I've heard some places, Jaguars are taking up new classes, something like that.
And then there's all the Chinese influence. When you see success, you try to imitate success. So it's not weird for Lexus to reinvent themselves, I guess. But then, what does it mean to be Lexus?
And if you ask me, when we look at the luxury segment, when they go to target the mass market for brand survivability, which we all understand, they rip out everything but the wires. What you're left with, to me, is a branded turd. In all instances but the name, the product is no longer what the brand stood for.
But to me, that's never the case with Lexus. Even when they broke through with the crossover, the moment you stepped inside, you felt Lexus. This holds true for any Lexus. The plush carpet, the refined fit and finish, the way the cabin still embraces onto amber, while everyone else is gunning for a rainbow of high-burning colors. Lexus always impresses. And this ES350e is no different.
I feel like I'm in a little bit of a pickle because we get so desensitized to the Chinese makes, and I feel that the Chinese like to emulate. So a lot of the time, it looks like what a luxury make should look like, but it doesn't feel like what a luxury make should feel like.
And that's where the Lexus ES350e stands apart. The material used on the inside, the way the seats cocoon you in, the way everything falls into place. Instantly, you know it. this is Lexus.
And driving it, it took me all of 2 minutes. I picked it up at Lexus, and before I turned out of Toyota, I could tell that I was set inside a Lexus, and a more impressive one at that.
The design of the cabin, the materials they use, the fit and finish, this was unmistakably Lexus, yet a Lexus of a new age. A full digital instrument cluster with custom design and detail, razor sharp and lightning quick. Switch drive modes and you're tossed into a new profile. A 14-inch touchscreen display, not that they didn't already have one of the best systems in the market. The most useful application of a clean steering wheel I've ever seen. Lexus calls it their responsive hidden switches. The hidden controls breathe into life when you're about to touch them on the steering wheel.
Now this is brilliant. This combines the beauty of the clean look but with the functionality, and this raises the bar. This is what the Chinese brands want to do, but with their motifless steering wheel designs, but this is just the way to go.
And so do the hidden physical buttons on the center console, as if the car is coming alive, breathing, responding to your touch. Beyond the doubt, the master craftsmanship this cabin carries, this comes from pedigree, from heritage. This is what comes from decades upon decades of mastery in this craft. Something that the new boys just can't keep up with. Even the leather is genuine, dyed, semi-aniline, more resistant to fading and stains.
And while this car was out, everyone sang its praises. And you could call me a cynic, skeptical, especially when I only saw the car from the outside. I thought, it couldn't be that good. It looks so different. But if you ask me now, I've not felt craftsmanship like this in ages. This is indubitably a Lexus.
To me, Lexus is about luxury, and luxury lives in excess, in perfection. And this is what it looks like, or as close as it gets. With many electric cars nowadays, you don't start up the car because it's already started by the time you get to it.
With this Lexus, you still have to push to start. But that's no mistake.
The LED headlight display comes on, you're set into position, the steering wheel sets in, and you're chauffeured to your starting drive position. I've never seen it like this before. It lives and breathes and pulses to your music, flashes as an ADAS warning, responds to your every touch, together with the 17-speaker Mark Levinson sound system.
This Lexus ES features Lexus Safety System 4.0. It's an improvement from 3.0 of before. I didn't find out what it does, but it already sounds and feels better than it did before.
Toyotas and Lexuses have some of the best safety systems in equipment and design that I've driven. And this time, they've refined it further. In the chimes and horns, everything is more polished. Ventilated front seats, a front-size sunroof, a heads-up display with native navigation directions. The luxury list goes on and on. But what's a car without driving?
One unfortunate symptom of the previous ES was that, to me, it felt a little bit passé. It looked a little bit uncle, especially when the IS got that beautiful facelift, and this ES didn't really get a treatment.
But get behind the wheel of the previous ES and you'll feel more like a king than an uncle. Inside the Lexus ES is the place to be. Generous power, ride quality that's supple and silent. It's what a Lexus is all about. I remember with the previous ES 300H, it even felt sporty next to the 520i. The hybrid assistance gave the ride all sorts of wonderful life, in addition to Toyota's unbeatable fuel economy. And inside this Lexus ES Electric, the impressions aren't any less impressive. The drive is perfectly silent, and you're suspended in supreme comfort. Everything works brilliantly from screen to pedal to stop.
And while this has gone full electric, it doesn't take away from any of the royal attributes that it had. In fact, now that it's electric, it's even more impressive that it still holds all these.
You see, the problem with other electric car makers is that the car just doesn't feel like a car. Perhaps for a lack of character, or the ergonomics, or the just plain lack of an engine rumble. Within this ES350e, I was instantly sold on the familiarity that this brought back to me. It drives just like an ICE car. If you want to make the switch to electric without feeling too foreign, this ES350e fits the bill perfectly. Step on the pedal and a corresponding power dynamism takes you in. It's not exactly cylinders, but it feels natural. The pedal response is right, the steering wheel communication and weight just feel right. Inside here, you'll forget about the flood of new EVs that are trying to take over.
But it's not all roses. I feel like a 350e should have significantly more power than a 300h of before. In fact, when you look at the numbers, this 350e only has 7 more brake horsepower than the 300h of before.
The rear side sunshades are now manual, the rear windscreen sunshade is gone, the sunroof could be bigger, the on-screen and HUD lanes could be more reactive. But I would be lying if I said that these took away from the brilliance of this car. There's just so much that this car has got right that the negatives don't really matter.
The way the power comes on, this drives like how a Lexus should. It ticks all the boxes. And it's not even a fast car. 8 seconds on the 0 to 100 for a $400,000 car. You could buy performance electrics for that price. You could buy performance ICE cars for that price. But you wouldn't.
The suspension feels ready to tame mountain bends. The dampening settles you quick and confidently from all angles. The ride is responsive and communicative, and the cabin feels fit for a king. In all essences of the idea, this new electric ES drives like a Lexus.
So this is the all-new ES350e. It's got a whole new look. It's got all new bits, and it drives just as a Lexus should. In every sense, it's as good a Lexus, or maybe even better. But did Lexus make this electric sedan just too late?
But truth be told, this isn't the first Lexus EV. We've seen the Lexus UX300e before, we've seen the RZ, but they're nothing like this new Lexus. Those were different cars for different times. I've driven both those cars and they weren't bad cars. But this time, this ES is different. It's a new platform, using the Toyota GAK platform. It's got a new design language and philosophy. It's a Lexus that marks a new age. It's even got a new badge. But in 2026, with an onslaught of EVs from the Chinese, Germans, and even Koreans, is Lexus too late?
If being first was the goal, then Lexus lost. But I think they took their time because they knew that when they put this ES out, everything had to be just right. And by God, almost everything was correct. The ES stands out as a brilliant product on its own for the refined professional. Another plane is coming by.